Hi, my name's Senga Lindsay. I'm a landscape architect here in North Vancouver. Today we're going to talk a little bit about composting, how to set up a composter, why compost is good for your garden, especially your edible garden, and just some of the things that you can use in your composter. So this happens to be ours here. It is prefabricated, as you can see. It's the average composter, in order to make it effective, needs to be at least 1 cubic meter by 1 cubic meter in volume, which is about the size of this one here. Has ventilation slots on the sides, and this one here has a trap door, actually. So what happens is we build the compost from the bottom upwards. But first of all, here is some of the compost that we created from last year. As you can see, it's a very nutrient-rich composition of soil and broken down organics. Compost is really the decay of living tissue, and it results in a bit of a soil mix as well as humus, rich in nutrients, really easy to make out of your own kitchen, and even your dryer you can compost, dryer lint you can compost. So compost is one of the most important amendments you can do to a regular garden soil. It also aerates it, breaks up regular garden soil, as well as adds valuable micronutrients that particularly your edibles like tomatoes require in order to fruit properly. So the things that we need to do for composting is we need to have living material. And the living material that we look at can come in a variety of forms. You can use everything from cut flowers, grass, weeds from your garden. The one thing there you want to be careful about is you don't want to put weed seeds in your compost, because they can stay there for many years and germinate in your garden once you spread your compost. Kitchen matter, anything from, well, here we have lemons, peas, lettuces, anything, any kitchen scraps, with the exception of meat, bones, animal products, is something that you don't want to put into your composter. Tea bags are another great thing you can add in. And eggshells. Eggshells are what bone meal, or like a meal, can be derived from. Very valuable for your plants. So you need layers of green matter. And also important in your compost is layers of dry matter. Now, we have everything from leaves, even paper towels, shredded paper from your office also breaks down very nicely, and believe it or not, you can even use lint. So lint is commonly made up of human hair, cotton fibers. That can even be put into your composter. Why is this all important? Well, I'll show you in one sec, but first of all I want to show how a composter works in breaking down. As I said, you build up your compost from the bottom up. You add alternating living matter, like our kitchen waste, and alternating dry matter, like, say, shredded paper, in 4 to 6 inch layers you build up in your box. So what happens is, through the action of various bugs, worms, and other microbes, that matter starts to break down. So this lower level here, you can see the humus and the compost is all ready to go. It's been sitting here for about 9 months. As we go up, and as we've built up our layers, you can start to see some of the kitchen matter, like the eggs, shells, and some of the leaves that haven't quite broken down yet. But over time, the worms, the microbes, will start to break all that down until you get a nice, rich, humusy mix like this. So when you're ready to start, you start with alternating layers of dry matter first, 6 inches, your greens as your next layer, and just to add a bit of an accelerator, you can use an organic, this is Rotted, that you can use, and you can sprinkle in between your alternating layers of paper or dry matter and organics. So the top lid is where you generally load all your matter. So what I would do here is, currently I have a bit of organics. So first, I'll sprinkle some of my dry browns, or browns as they call it, on top, like so. You want between 4 and 6 inches, but for the purposes of this, I'm just going to quickly show you how the layering works. So your browns, then your greens, then your organics. Just spread it over the top. We also have some additional kitchen waste here. Have some pineapple skins, melons, avocado, strawberries, the tea bags, cucumber slices, all go as your next layer. Potato skins. So anything that can be broken down that's green. Then we'll alternate. Use our rod-it so that we can accelerate it, because here in Vancouver we tend to have very wet, cool weather, and composts need to be in an area that have a lot of sunlight. This one here has about 4 to 6 hours of sunlight. Not quite optimal. You want to have it, the warmer the better, because warmth and moisture will help the microbes and the worms work faster and break down your compost faster. Hence the reason I give it a little bit of accelerator to help that process. So ideally what you want to do is you want to locate your composter in an area in more like full sun or gets a lot of warmth. The other thing you want to do is make sure that your compost is constantly damp. Here I'm just going to give it a quick water with water we've actually harvested from our rain barrels, because things like the worms and the microbes do need moisture in order to survive. If your compost is too dry, they won't be able to do their job, and your compost will break down a lot slower. So those are the key ingredients to creating compost. Now you can build your own system if you want, open-ended boxes, but the key is sunlight, ventilation, and if you get very ambitious, you could actually start to turn over your piles again to create a more of a mix between the dries and the greens, and to aerate it so that the microbes can work faster as well. But in this case, for most of us urban gardeners, a nice prefabricated system is one of the easiest things you can do. And just as a word of note, oftentimes you'll end up with creatures that want to get into your compost, particularly mice and rats. So what you always have to do is always either chicken wire the base of your composter, because the rats and mice will burrow under in order to get up in and start eating the kitchen scraps. Or what we do, because we did have something burrow under here at one point, is you use wire. You could use steel wool. This is just window mesh. And by jamming it in the holes that they try to create, we've now blocked off any entrances for rodents, which is a typical problem for composters, but one that can be easily overcome. In about 6 to 9 months, you should end up with a nice layer. Theoretically, you should end up with at least half this composter in about 9 months, full of rich organic material that you can spread on your garden, on your edible plants. And that's how you compost in a nutshell. If you want any more information on how to compost, grow edibles, vegetables, improve your garden, please visit my website at www.sengadesigns.com. Thanks for watching.